All right, for those of you that have watched my channel before, you might know that my daughter Shana does a lot of house sitting, dog sitting, and right now she's helping take care of a lady that had knee surgery and help her with her dog kennel business. Lots of stuff. So we don't get to see her much, and she definitely doesn't get to come home and eat much. And left on her own, she doesn't always eat right. So I've made some of these, but I haven't recorded them. So today I'm recording them. I'm going to make some meals in a jar to send with her so that she can have an easy to make meal that's decent food. These are not 100% contained because she has a kitchen, she has a refrigerator, so some things I will put in a separate container as she needs them. They're there and she can add them. But that will just be like add-on stuff. Primarily, everything's going to be in the jar. So I'm going to show you how I do those. I'm not using oxygen absorbers because this is not going to be a long-term thing. This will be a few weeks. So I will be vacuum sealing it with my vacuum sealer and this attachment. And these are available at Amazon, and I'll leave a link for that. And I have regular mouth and wide mouth. So depending on which jars I use, because I'm using whatever I had already open. So I'm going to start with a beef stew. And I'll show you how I put it together, what's in it, and what you need to do to reconstitute it so she has a good meal. So let me get started. All right, I'm using Thrive Life freeze-dried things just because I became a consultant for this reason. I really wanted to do this for her, and since I'm doing it, I might as well show you and make it available to you. But this is by no means a sales push. If you have a Thrive Life consultant, please go see them. If you don't have one, I will leave a link if you're interested. And if you have dehydrated or something else, you can certainly substitute those. They won't always reconstitute the same, so you'll have to take that into consideration. This is just to show you how I do it and what I'm going to do. I really wanted to get this video done today because today is November 20th and the Black Friday sale is starting for preferred customers, customers with a delivery box, or consultants starts tomorrow, November 21st. And they have some really good sale stuff. If you're not a preferred customer or consultant, the sale is going to start the 22nd. So I wanted to get this online in case you're interested in doing this, that you can go online and get your order placed and take advantage of that. I will leave a link, and if you're interested, feel free to shop. If you are a consultant, then you already know about this. So I'm going to go ahead and get started making the beef stew. And again, this is not going to be long-term storage. I'm not using these oxygen absorbers, but if you did, these 300 cc's are probably plenty, and you can get these online. Or, like I said, use your vacuum sealer attachments. And mine, a few weeks, there's not a problem. I have actually vacuum sealed jars of freeze-dried chicken from Thrive Life from 2012. and we just used them up. And they were fine. They tasted good. Keep them dry, oxygen out, in a dark place, and they were still good. So I believe in that. Do your own research if you feel comfortable with that. But if I were doing long term, I think I would use an oxygen absorber with it. That's just me. But for a few weeks, this is going to be fine. So this is beef stew, and I've already put one together, but I'll show you what I did. So what I did is I started, and you can put this any order that you like because it's all going to go in the pan together. Doesn't matter. This one is so simple. So I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of the freeze-dried celery. Alright, and I'm just going to move things out of the way as I do it. And I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of the freeze-dried chopped onions. And I'm going to put in, let's see, carrots. 1/4 cup, oops, 1/4 cup of the dehydrated carrot dices. I want this to be hearty, as if I were making it from scratch. I want it to be full of these vegetables that just fill you up and warm you up and makes her feel like she's eating at home. Okay, now I've got my freeze-dried mushrooms, and I'm going to put 1/4 cup of those. And 1/4 cup of freeze-dried peas, and I love these. I've used them in other videos and recipes because, as I said there, when I put them in my freezer, they always seem to get freezer burn or something else. And so these are nice for me because I just have them available and they're there whenever I want to use them. Now I'm going to use a heaping, and this is kind of tough to scoop out, so I'm going to move that back. Heaping cup of the freeze-dried beef slices, and I want a hearty heaping cup. So I'm going to put that in each, get that thing out of my way. I'm going to put that in each jar. And I'll probably make 3 jars of each meal for Shana. She has at least 3 more weeks to go. And that way she will have one for each week. And I'm going to do some other ones, but for the sake of time in this video, I'm only going to do just 2 or 3 recipes probably. Let's see. And I'm going to put 3/4 cup of the potato dices, if I can fit them in there. Because again, I want this to be a good hearty meal. And she can either eat this for 2 days if she wants, or she can make this and share it with her client, whichever she chooses. And I'm just going to kind of press that down some because I want to get more in there. Okay, just pack it down. And I think I have a couple over, because I still have to put some freeze-dried garlic, and this is the brand I get at Costco. I'm going to put half a teaspoon. Let's see. That's it. Half a teaspoon in each. And I'm going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of the Chef's Choice seasoning from Thrive Life. And I'm going to use 1 package of sodium-free beef bouillon. I'm working on making my own recipe for this too, as I did the chicken bouillon. I just haven't got to it yet, and I still had these in my shelf, so I'm going to add these. Again, I have no problem with salt. I do think it's time to start reducing sodium because we get way too much of it. So you can always add salt to a recipe, but you can't take it out. So I want it to be an option. So we're just gonna press all this down and shake it, get that powder down some. Okay. And then I'm going to wipe the rim, and I'm going to put the lids and rings on. Now, when I vacuum seal this, the powder will be pulled up. So before I do that, I'm really going to shake these jars and get that settled down into the jar, because I don't want it to lose its seal. But once it's down in the jar, and you can see it settles in the bottom, and you could put this in earlier too. I just, for some reason, didn't. So you get all that in the bottom, and they will vacuum seal up nicely. So this is the beef stew. And I'm going to label these, but then I'm going to just give her a card with instructions. Feel free to label each jar if you want, but she'll be fine doing it that way. So I'm going to put a label saying beef stew, give her a card, and I would start with 3 cups of water. And I would probably bring it to a boil, add the ingredients, and let it come back to a boil. And then simmer it 10 to 15 minutes. You can add a little more water if you want more. And then I'm going to give her a container with some non-GMO cornstarch that she can add at the end and thicken it up to be nice, thick beef stew. So this one is beef stew in a jar. And I'll bring you back for the next one. I just wanted to show you, I use this all the time. It's like Post-it note, but it's tape. And I use this constantly. So you can peel that off, put that on your jar and label it, and it peels right off. It's like a Post-it note. So this is how I do it, unless I'm being fancy and make fancy labels, but yeah, not for this. So just wanted to show you that. It's in the office supplies, and it comes in different colors, but it's Post-it note tape. So the next meal in a jar that I'm making for Shana, she loves Alfredo anything. Loves it. So what I'm going to make is a chicken Alfredo that she can serve on top of fettuccine. And the fettuccine's not going in the jar. I buy these little nests of spinach and egg pasta, and I just send her that, and she can add as much or as little as she likes, and she's well aware how to cook pasta, so I don't worry about that. And if it's got Alfredo, she'll cook it. I'm not worried. So this is what it looks like, and I've added peas just to give it a little color, but also a little vegetable in there. And what we're going to do in this is we're going to put mushroom, chicken, and peas in the bottom. And then we're going to prepare separate little bags that will have the Alfredo mixture in it. And I've already weighed out the flour just because it's over there. So we're going to start out and put the mushrooms and chicken in. And I'm going to put 1/4 cup of mushroom, about. It's hard to measure in these things. About 1/4 cup in each. Okay. Move that out of the way. And we're going to put 1/2 cup of the freeze-dried chicken slices. Yeah, a little more. Okay. Put that right on top. And you always kind of shake the jar down just to settle everything. Although these don't get so overly full as the beefs do. Okay. And now we're going to add the freeze-dried peas. And I'm going to put 1/4 cup of those right on top. And besides, it just makes the jar prettier, you know? But you gotta have some kind of vegetable. All right, so we get those out of the way. Now we are going to start in on our little Alfredo bag. So again, I've got about 1/8 of a cup of flour in each, and I use the organic stuff, but you choose whatever all-purpose flour you want. And I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and this is kosher salt. Whatever kind of salt you want to use is fine. All right. We're going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of dried parsley. Okay. And 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And 1/4 teaspoon of granulated garlic. Because, again, we can never get enough garlic. We love it. such an inexpensive way to add so much flavor to everything. Okay, move that out of the way. I'm going to put just a tiny dash of nutmeg in each. This thing pours pretty fast, so I'm going to move that out of the way. And then I'm going to add powdered milk, and for this recipe I want it to be richer, so I didn't really want to use the non-fat. So this brand is whole milk, and I use this when I'm making my honey butter rolls, and if you haven't seen that video, you need to check that one out. Those are amazing. So I'm going to add half a cup of the whole milk powder, and you can use the non-fat if that's what you have and what you like. I want to make it rich, so I'm going to use the whole milk. So there's one little bag. And if you didn't want to use the whole milk and maybe you have sour cream powder, you could always add a tiny bit of that too. I'm doing this just to give it that richer flavor. Close that one up. And then we're just going to stuff that little bag right in the top. And like I said, to finish these off, I'll seal these, and then I will give her the little pasta to cook. And I'm going to give her a container of shredded Parmesan. Probably give her like a half pint or so she can put that on top of it. That's going to be a happy girl. So to make this, get a lid on this guy. To make this, you're going to take about a tablespoon of butter and melt it in a pan. And she will have butter. If you want to put everything in the jar, you could always add butter powder to your little bag. That's totally up to you. But she has a kitchen, and there's nothing going to replace real butter. So a tablespoon of melted butter, and add 1.5 cups of water, and then whisk in the bag of Alfredo sauce mix. And bring that to a boil and reduce that heat and let it simmer for 5 to 10 minutes. Well, while she's doing that, she can put the pasta on to cook. So very short amount of time for something that I know she'll eat and love. So serve that, put a little bit of the Parmesan cheese on top. She's going to be a happy camper. All right, let me get set up for the next one. And I think I forgot to add that while the Alfredo sauce is cooking, refresh the chicken, mushrooms, and peas in hot, or just hot water's fine, or boiling. Set them in a bowl, set them aside, and let them refresh while the Alfredo sauce is cooking. And then you can add those into the Alfredo sauce at the end. And I think you'll get a much nicer product if you refresh them separately. So be sure and add those in before you're all finished, because I forget. Okay, this is another recipe using the seasoned chicken slices. And this one I'm going to base off of yellow rice. And I buy this big old thing at World Market, and Shana absolutely loves this. So I'm going to start the recipe with that because she loves this no matter what, and I'm going to add chicken and vegetables to it so that it makes a whole meal. So I'm going to put 1 cup of this in each jar. Okay. And I believe this is like a saffron rice, and it's probably got turmeric, and I know that it has red pepper. It's got spices, onion, garlic, tomato, all that in here. But I'm going to add to that because I want to make this more complete. So I'm going to put a 1/4 cup of freeze-dried tomato. I'm definitely going to have to shake this down to make it all fit. And a 1/2 cup of the freeze-dried chicken. I need a tiny bit more than that. Okay. And I'm going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of my favorite freeze-dried garlic. My allergies are making me crazy. A small pinch of red pepper flakes, just to spice it up for her. And then I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of freeze-dried green beans. That will give her some more vegetable. Okay. Now I was going to put a little bit of, and I may be able to fit it in there, but I don't think so. I was going to put a little bit of mozzarella, freeze-dried mozzarella cheese in a bag on top. I don't know. I think I'll just put that in a little jar for her to add separate. And to prepare this, you're going to use, according to the recipe on here, you're going to add 2 cups of water and 1 tablespoon of butter, and bring it to a boil. Stir in the rice, but we're going to put all of this in there. So we're going to add 2.5 cups of water and pour this in and let it cover it, reduce heat, cover, and let it sit for about 20-25 minutes. And she'll have a complete meal. And like I said, I'll send her some of the mozzarella cheese that she could put on top, and that'll just add to it, I think. So that is jar number 3. Yellow rice with chicken and vegetables. And here's just one little extra one, because I know this is something that Shana loves. A lot of times we will make hash brown potatoes with onions and scrambled eggs mixed in at the end and then we'll serve that on tortillas with salsa. Well, I'll give her a jar of my homemade salsa and she can take that. But I want to make this so that she can have the whole meal. So what I'm going to do is I have these hash brown potatoes. I get in a little carton from Costco, but you can use whatever dehydrated hash brown potatoes you got. So I'm just going to pour those in there. This is about half of a carton because I used about half the other day for something else. So, I don't know, that's maybe just under a cup. Call it a cup if you've got them. And to that, I'm going to add some dehydrated onions. There goes my little clips. And I'll probably use, I don't know, half a tablespoon of dehydrated onion, because we really like that in there. Okay. We're going to add just a quarter teaspoon of salt. Quarter teaspoon of granulated garlic, more if you like it. And a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. And then I've got a quarter cup of freeze-dried sausage crumbles. And let's see, I'm probably going to add about a half of a tablespoon. Now let's make it a tablespoon of freeze-dried green chili peppers. That's going to give it a nice flavor. Okay. And then in a little bag, we're going to put scrambled egg mix. Now she could even take some of our homegrown eggs, although the girls are slowing down because it's winter, so we don't have a whole lot, and I'm going to use a lot for Thanksgiving. So to make up the scrambled eggs, we're going to put 2 tablespoons of this mix with 3 tablespoons of water, and that equals 1 egg. So I'm going to give her enough for 2 eggs, I think. So that would be 4 tablespoons of the scrambled egg powder. You notice I don't use this much because we have chickens. Kind of shake that up some. Okay. So my little bag. And she can season this as she chooses. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So she will have the equivalent of 2 eggs, and she'll add 6 tablespoons of water to rehydrate that and then cook it. So I'm just going to put that little bag right on top. And there she will, all she has to add is my salsa and some tortillas, which she can buy or she can make them because she knows how to make them too. So that was just a little bit extra so that she can have her, what we call breakfast tacos, but everybody else calls them burritos. Texas, we call them breakfast tacos. So just one little extra one wanted to show you, and I will be making more things, other things. So if you're interested in those, let me know in the comments, and if you've got some suggestions, maybe we can come up with some more things. So anyway, Thanks for watching. Aw, heck. I gotta do another one. So, I know she loves pasta, so I'm going to make her some pasta sauce. And I will do one with freeze-dried sausage crumbles and one with freeze-dried ground beef. I was putting everything away and it's like, no, I need to finish these. So, what did I do with my funnel? I lost my funnel. It's okay. I have a second one. I actually have another one too. When you can a lot, it's just nice to have extras of those. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with this is my base, and this is the classic tomato sauce, which is a kind of sort of Italian sauce, kind of sort of, but not to my taste. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, every time you use it, you stir it or shake it and just really make sure it's mixed well. It's tomato powder and spices. So I mixed it well, and I'm gonna spoon it in to a 1/4 cup. Now this calls for 1/2 cup to 2 cups of water. Well, that's a lot for Shana, even if she shares it. That's a whole lot. So I'm using a 1/4 cup of the tomato sauce mixture. And because I like spiced up, I'm probably going to add 1/2 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. That may be a lot, but you know what? We like a lot of flavor. And I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of granulated garlic. And I tasted this, and I always taste it dry, because then I can get an idea what the flavors are. So I've got all of that in there. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of sausage crumbles to this one. And I could probably put this in a 1/2 pint jar, but I had these handy, so it's like 3/4 pint, something like that. That one's sausage, so I'm going to move it out of the way and do the same thing let's put the spices in first. 1/4 teaspoon of this garlic, granulated garlic. Okay. And 1/4 cup of freeze-dried ground beef. And then I've also put some mozzarella cheese, the freeze-dried, in a little container. So she can use this, she can use the Parmesan that I already prepared for the Alfredo sauce. Yeah, I definitely could have put these in a 1/2 pint jar, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. So she'll now have 2 more pasta dinners, and she already has the pasta noodles. So all she has to do is add the water, heat this up, and I believe it's about, how long? Simmer in hot water for 2 to 3 minutes and then let rest 1 to 2 minutes. That's pretty easy. And making the pasta, and again, she knows how to do that. So these are just more quick meals that my daughter can have without resorting to things that I don't approve of. Again, the Black Friday sale is going on starting tomorrow if you're preferred customer or consultant, and 22nd if you are not one of those. But there are good prices out there. A lot of these ingredients, in fact, I would say, I think every ingredient is on sale right now. Some really good deals. I think the ground beef is one of them. So go check it out. And I hope this helps you. This would be great for a senior citizen that maybe it's getting more difficult to do all of the cooking. If someone's ill, you can make meals in a jar, soups, all kinds of things. It's really, you just have to stop and think, what do I use in it? How is it cooked? And you just think it through, and you can come up with so many ideas for meals in a jar and so many reasons. Obviously, backpacking, things like that, you would use a Mylar bag and seal that up. And if you use a Ziploc, they could even, Ziploc Mylar, they could even cook it in the bag. But I'm not up against that limitation because Shana's got a kitchen and she's got the additional ingredients at hand. So mine is just making it easy for her to eat. But you can do complete meals. You can add the extra ingredients if that's what you need to do. And you know what? That would make a good gift. Giving somebody beef stew. Great Christmas idea, people. So anyway, just my thoughts on it. And again, thank you for watching. And thank you for visiting Vickie's Country Home.